Hey YouTube, Shoulda Scavved here, aka Scav, aka the guy who types way too much in Ranked. Today I'm going to be bringing you a different type of video than I have done before. Obviously you're hearing my voice right now, which is something new, and this is not going to be a montage. This is going to be a MAUL guide video for Season 14 in Conqueror's Blade. I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while on MAUL. Let me know if you guys want to see more types of tutorial videos and guide videos in the comments, or if not, let me know that too, and I'll just stick to montages. But without further ado, let's get into it. So I'll start with my attributes here on the left. For MAUL, I run toughness. I'm probably about 90-95% of my attribute points in toughness and the rest in strength. This is the build that I have found works the best for me. It's 32k health and enough damage with your weapon pretty much by itself, with a little bit of strength points as a cherry on top, and you're basically a high damage dealing tank. You can run armor. That is what I used to do, an armor build. The rule of thumb, the theory that I was following, the reason I liked it was that armor builds protect you from tier 4 units and lower, so you can pretty much dive those units and not really worry about taking too much damage from them, whereas toughness protects you from those tier 5 units and hero damage. That is a very big umbrella rule, very general, lots of loopholes, lots of details where that rule does not actually seem true. So I over time switched to the toughness build, just having that bigger pool of health to in general seem to keep my survivability up a little bit more than the armor ratings. If you find armor works better for you, great, no real bad thing about it. Really it's just between armor and toughness, you're deciding between which one you feel like you survive more with. You can go full strength with MAUL. I don't recommend it. I think the survivability and the tankiness of MAUL is really important, but if you just want to be a spinning damage dealing machine, you can absolutely go full strength MAUL. It's not my preference, but it is certainly an option. Agility is not an option. Do not go full agility MAUL. There is no reason for that. Onto the weapon itself. This is the MAUL I'm using. I just crafted it at the beginning of the season. The stats that you're looking for are blunt damage and strength. That's pretty much it. Your agility, your blunt pen is pretty much going to be fine, even if there's 0 extra points there, because most things in this game do not have blunt defenses super highly rated. So really what you're looking for is just that bigger flat damage numbers that get the bigger percentages with your skills and whatnot. So just strength and damage is really what you're looking for. Blunt pen and agility, obviously nice to have, nothing to throw away for free, but not the priority. Damage and strength is by far the priority. As for your armor, obviously you're running heavy. Pretty much up to you if you want to be a leadership build or a health and defenses build. I recommend leadership. Just having the ability to bring more high quality units is better than you as your individual hero having more survivability. Okay, so let's get into the skills. So I'm going to run through each skill one by one, and then talk about why the build that I'm running right now is what works best for me. So first up, we're going to go Mighty Mjolnir. Mighty Mjolnir is the most important skill in MAUL, period. Well, now it's probably tied with another one. But no matter what build you're running, you will run Mighty Mjolnir. It's your sprint ability, I guess you could say. But the main reason that it's so important is that it fully charges other abilities. So if you chain Mjolnir into Bonebreaker or Maelstrom or Earth Splitter, those abilities will be fully charged right away. Whereas if you try to use Bonebreaker, Earth Splitter, Maelstrom without fully charging them, you would just have to hold down your E key, for example, and your guy just stands there kind of hyping himself up for a few seconds, and it makes you extremely vulnerable. So that's why you don't see MAULs really doing that. You'll only ever see them using their abilities after they use Mjolnir to charge them up. So absolutely necessary is Mighty Mjolnir. The next skill we're going to talk about is Maelstrom. So this is one of the spin to win attacks for MAUL, the other one being Bonebreaker. Maelstrom is the one that is the faster, higher DPS. But Bonebreaker overall does do more damage, and but just takes longer to get through the animation. The reason I like Maelstrom is it is CC immune. You don't need a rune for that. It's just built into the skill now as of 2 or 3 seasons ago. So that's huge. You get the spin for pretty much free every time, as long as you can tank whatever damage you're tanking. As well as it being the higher DPS spin between the two. So for those two reasons, honestly, that's really enough for me to pick Maelstrom over Bonebreaker. In addition, you can unlock this rune, which is using Maelstrom Stage 3 increases all defenses by 12%, Stage 4 grants immunity to dazed effects, Stage 5 reduces melee damage taken by 15%. So these are all extras on top of the CC immunity that's built into the skill. So once you get this rune, you are able to tank even more and sustain even more while doing your Maelstrom spin. Also, I didn't mention it, I also run cost of stamina dodging reduced by 15%. This is best 2 runes in slot for me right now. If I wasn't using Maelstrom, I would probably use Stam Regen Increase, but because I am using Maelstrom, it doesn't really make sense for me not to use the rune designated for it. Back to the skills. So yeah, that's Maelstrom, higher DPS spin, quicker animation than Bonebreaker, CC immune, plus it has a rune that gives it extra benefits. Next up we have Mountain Breaker. This used to be called Ukko's Doom, but this season they changed it to Mountain Breaker. This is also necessary in any MAUL build, I would say. It has the same effect that Mighty Mjolnir has, where it can fully charge your chargeable abilities if you chain them afterwards. So if you start with Mountain Breaker and then go to Maelstrom or Bonebreaker or Earth Splitter, those abilities will now be fully charged because you chained it with Mountain Breaker. Similar to Ukko's of old, it is your anti-CC move. It removes dazed and knockdown effects. However, it is not nearly as fast as Ukko's was. Old Ukko's Doom, you could click it and immediately your character was on his feet again, and you could, if as a MAUL, dodge out of whatever the next thing coming at you was most of the time. It was one of the fastest abilities in the game in terms of animation, and I miss it very, very much. The new Mountain Breaker we have, I certainly do not like as much as Ukko's Doom, but it's what we got right now, and we got to work with it. So, it's still your anti-CC move, it's still your second charge-up move, I guess you could call it, in addition to Mighty Mjolnir. But it's just so much slower than Ukko's was. As you see this animation playing over and over in your screen right now, it's kind of a backhanded slap. It's almost kind of like the second or third auto ability in the MAUL auto chain. It's not nearly as fast as Ukko's. Still, absolutely necessary to be running in your build. If you're like me and you liked chaining Ukko's into Earth Splitter or Maelstrom before, you kind of have to change their timing of that attack now because of how slow Mountain Breaker is. But once you play around with it, you'll see that it's still a necessary skill to run. Last but not least, for my build at least, is Earth Splitter. So, just a quick catch up. So far, the only 2 necessary skills, I think, are Mjolnir and Mountain Breaker. These 2 are just my preference, and you guys can switch these if you like. So Earth Splitter I like mostly because of its 8-second cooldown. You just slam your hammer on the ground, you knock down heroes and units probably within like a 2 to 3 meter AoE around where your MAUL hits the ground, something like that. It's not huge, but it is a knockdown. So especially with the Shield Maiden meta right now, with the Stalwarts, with the 40s, any unit that's kind of clumped up on top of itself, just with these huge infantry deathball metas in general right now, it's really nice to have this on an 8-second cooldown, because whenever you're entering, you can lead with Earth Splitter, knock whatever's right in front of you over, and walk right on top with your spin and your maidens, your stalwarts, your 40s, what have you, whatever you're using. It's such a good entry move to knock down whatever's in front of you, spin on top of it, and just kind of take that, like, 4 meter space in front of you and just keep repeating that over and over and over. That's why I love it, especially with the maiden meta right now. If I've got maidens and the enemy has maidens and it's a 1v1, if I get my Earth Splitter and knock them all on the ground, and I use my anti-CC immune doctrine on my maidens, theirs are on the ground, mine are up, I win that maiden 1v1 100 times out of 100. That's why I love Earth Splitter. So, what you could do other than this, and this Earth Splitter also interrupts cap charges, similar to Ukko's. What you could do other than this. So, the most popular skills that I'm not running are Bonebreaker. I would say is probably the most popular that I'm not running. It's the other spin ability that's you would use instead of Maelstrom, or if you wanted to use 2 spins, you could use Maelstrom and Bonebreaker. It does more damage than Maelstrom does. It does not have CC immunity. It can be interrupted, and it has a much slower animation to complete. However, I do think it has a bigger area of effect. When you're spinning with Maelstrom, you kind of have to be right on top of whatever you want to do damage to. Whereas Bonebreaker, your character is kind of taking these steps forward with every swing, so you can just impact a lot more stuff around you as you're actually in the animation itself. So very good damage. When it hits something, it doesn't knock it to the ground, but it staggers it, and it kind of it interrupts whatever action that thing is doing when you hit it. So it's a very good skill, very strong. It's just a little slower than Maelstrom, does more damage, and is not CC immune, and there is no rune for it as well. However, you can still run this if you want. Alright, the MAUL grab. So I've seen a lot more people running grab already this season than last season, which is fine. It's still a very strong skill. It should be a guaranteed kill every single time you grab somebody, because you're going to throw them into your units or your teammates, and they should be able to kill them. So it's a free pick every 45 seconds, hypothetically. That is very strong. That's very valuable. That still has its place in the game. Personally, I don't love it, because it's a 45-second cooldown, and with the way that Conqueror's Blade servers are, people aren't always where they look like they actually are standing. I don't know how many times I've dismounted on people with my MAUL and went to grab them, and they're on the ground laying down on their back, and their body will teleport 5 feet away from me while I'm doing my MAUL grab, and I'll miss my MAUL grab and have wasted my ult. So you could call that a skill issue, you could call that an NA dog issue. Those would be valid takes. But just with the lag right now and the long cooldown of it, it's not my favorite thing in the world to run. However, it is still viable, it has its place, it will piss off the other team for sure. It should be a guaranteed kill every 45 seconds. You don't need to charge up grab with anything like Mjolnir or Mountain Breaker. It just works when you click the button, and it's pretty self-explanatory. If you pick up a hero, you'll put him on your back, and you get to run them pretty far, about 20 meters, I would say, to any position you want. You are slow, and if people CC you, you will drop whoever is on your shoulder. But if you pull it off correctly, it should be a guaranteed kill every 45 seconds. Last skill that we haven't gotten to yet, I believe, is just Forge of War. Oh, didn't get to Up From Hell yet. I've never used this skill. I don't know anyone that ever has used this skill. Go for it if you want. If you find out it's the hidden meta, DM me and let me know why, but I've never really paid attention to the skill or heard anyone that's used it. So, last thing we're actually going to talk about is Forge of War. This is basically Earthsplitter's big brother. It has the same effects as Earthsplitter, but just more. So as you can see by this little clip, it's a slower animation. You kind of do this big wind up. You can absolutely be knocked out during that animation and get cancelled. That's the main reason I don't like it, is that it's slow and it's on a 40-second cooldown. However, you can use it if you do end up liking it. The reasons you will is because it does a massive amount of damage, and it has a massive AoE, and it sends everything flying. It's not, everything's either knocked down or like genuinely flying through the air, like super far away from where it once was. It's extremely effective against maidens, stalwarts, 40s, any of those units that are going to be clumped up together tight. You can just put them all on their back in one swing. So yeah, it's basically Big Brother Earthsplitter. It does everything that Earthsplitter does, but better and slower, essentially. And it's on a 40-second cooldown instead of an 8-second cooldown. So these were the two abilities that I was really putting head-to-head when I was trying to find my MAUL build, and I ended up settling on Earthsplitter just because of the 8-second cooldown more than anything else. Because I mean, with 4 skills and 12 seconds being your longest cooldown, like you're always able to do something for your team. You're always able to be around the front line. You're always able to do damage or knock something over for your teammates to kill. So yeah, that is my MAUL build. yeah, this is basically everything I wanted to talk about in this video. But yeah, guys, let me know if you want to see some more stuff like this in the comments below. Yeah, if you have any more questions, more specific stuff about MAUL, feel free to put it in the comments and I'll most likely respond to you. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video today. Leave a like and a comment if you did enjoy it. And yeah, look forward to more videos from me in the future. Have a good rest of your day, guys.